Hello, friends. Welcome back to Make It Minded and Multiply It with Larisa. So, I am recording today's video to help support you on your personal finance journey. And in particular, I actually just happened to finish reading a book called Profit First by Michael Michalowicz. And I thought it was super timely as it kind of resonates with another video I had done in the past about the six financial jars or the six money jars. And it's a similar concept, except, the two plans kind of label the expenditures a little bit differently. But I thought this would be a great asset or a great resource to help you create your own. Create a better spending plan for yourself. No one likes the word budget, but at the end of the day, the discipline required in how you spend your money is obviously going to have a huge impact on how long it takes you to reach your particular level of success of living the good life. And without further ado, I just wanted to launch right in, because there's actually a lot to cover in a very few minutes that I've allocated to Make It Minded and Multiply It videos. So like I said, Profit First is a book about business income, really. And as the title suggests, it is recommending that entrepreneurs take their profit right off the top, instead of trying to say, okay, this is how much it costs to run my business and then I'll squeeze out a little profit. It's like, no, take your profit now, and obviously manage the way you spend your other money. And at the end of the day, you have to reduce your operating expenses in order to take your profit first. So really, it's a highly recommended book, very personable. Know if it's a quick read, but it's definitely an easy read, and it kind of moves you along through the process. So highly recommended. So as I mentioned, I was just finishing up, I want to say yesterday, actually Saturday, I finished it. And what was a surprise to me is that it also included a personal income plan, which I was going to try and modify the business one for my personal income, but at the same time, hey, there's a plan already in there. And that's what I want to share with you. And again, I'm going to not contrast it with the money jars, but I want to just lay them out both for you. And hopefully one of them will work for you in your money management plan. So let's just go with the Profit First plan, which recommends that you set aside 5 bank accounts. Now, and that's not really the most I've heard. I've heard, 7 bank accounts. And really what you're doing is you are labeling or otherwise utilizing each separate account for a specific purpose. And the first one is your income account. And that is where all the money income that you receive on a monthly basis just goes into this one account. And from this one account, you're going to disperse it into the other 4 accounts. So income account 1 is your income account, and that's just the repository for all of your income. From there, twice a month, on the 10th and the 25th is a recommended schedule. You will put money into your vault account, and that is where you have 1 to 2 months of mortgage or rent, if that's where you are, set aside. So in case there's a rainy day, there's a shortage, you have at least the roof over your head, right? That's the most important thing. So that's your second account, is your vault account. Then you want to have an account for your recurring bills. So that would include your rent or your mortgage. That will include your car payment, your utilities. If you have any installment notes, these are bills that you are going to have to pay on a regular basis. Those are your recurring bills, and that goes into account 3. Now, number 4, this is interesting, is that he separates out your groceries, your gas, I don't know, your personal incidentals like clothes or entertainment or gifts, right? So that goes into a separate day-to-day account that you want to use a debit card to pay for, so that any expenses immediately come out of your checking account, and that way you're not overspending, because you had that float time with checks or credit cards, right? First of all, we don't want you to use your credit cards. That's the point. And then the 5th account is what he's calling the debt destroyer. Okay. Now, one thing that we do agree on, actually, I agree on many parts, but one thing I've talked about in the past is the snowball account. And that's where you pay off the bill with the lowest balance first, because you can see your progress and that inspires you to keep going, right? But the thing that was new to me was he also recommends that as you pay down your credit card balance, for example, you want to take 50% of that pay down and ask them to lower your credit balance, credit limit. So let's just say you have worked hard at it, you've chipped away, and you have a $10,000 card, and you have managed to pay down 3,000, what you want to do is contact the credit company and have them reduce your 10,000 down to 8,500. Now, sure, that's going to worry you a bit, and that you're going to say, well, that's going to impact my credit utilization. But that's not necessarily a problem unless you're trying to make a big purchase, like such as a house, in which case you might want to hold off on that until you're in the house. But if you're not planning a big purchase within the next, I don't know, period of time, then I would, recommend that you go ahead and reduce that balance. And he suggests that you do that until you get down to, say, 5,000, right? So a $5,000 credit limit. And I actually thought this debt destroyer option was really good, especially if you are getting close to retirement, because when you retire, you do not want to have to pay off any credit card bills in addition to your living expenses, since your retirement income may likely be lower than your employment income. So this is different from the business profit first setup. So again, I recommend that you read the book. I'm only talking about personal income today. So I think those are highly doable breakdowns for your account management. And I do like the snowball effect for paying down your debt. I've used that in the past, and it is gratifying to see those balances reduce. So I hope you will consider that one. Now let's move over to the money jars. Now, this is something that I've talked about, and honestly, it came from the Millionaire Mindset. I just labeled the jars in what I'm hoping will be a memorable way, so that's easy enough to set up and keep up. And so, as I said, there are 6 jars. So you have your income. And what I'm suggesting is you have one account called your Maven account. And I just say that because it sounds your MAM account, because that sounds very, what's that word called? It sounds very reasonable, very logical. And that is the account where you have your living expenses and you pay your regular bills from your MAM account. Your second account I'm recommending is your Maven account. This is actually a savings, could be a CD, could be a money market, could be a regular savings, but this is where your short-term savings goes in. And this is something that you're going to need to access within the next, say, 6 months to 3 years, possibly, right? So not long-term savings, but short-term savings in your Maven account. Now, your third account, critical, is your Multipreneur account. As you know, Larisa is all about multipreneurship, having multiple streams of income. So with your Multipreneur account, this is where you want to dedicate some resources for purchasing income-producing assets, whether that's a rental property or other type of investment, say like a stock that generates dividends. So that is what your Multipreneur account is for. And then we move on to your Mogul account. Now this is, I'm calling that your La Vida Buena account, because look, I said being a multipreneur is not for the faint of heart. So you are working a little bit harder than you want to for the long term, perhaps. But the rewards are going to be there. There will be a payoff. But for your Mogul account, you want to, treat yourself now and again. Is that a vacation? Is that a little bit of bling? Just moderate how you allocate your money, because what I forgot to mention was how you do the percentages. So I will go back. So your MAM account is typically going to be 50 to 60% of your income, depending on, how many bills you have. And then from there, you have 5 more accounts. So if it's 50% here, then consider these other accounts are 10% each. If your living expenses cost 60% of your income, then I'm going to say Maven, Multipreneur, and it should be 10% also, but the other ones are either going to be 10 or 5%, depending on how much you put into your MAM account. So after Mogul will be your MBA account. Look, when you get busy, maybe you graduated from college, or maybe you only finished high school, whatever, depends on what your goals are. You still should allocate, as long as you're working and or in business, you need to allocate some type of funds for your professional development. And this is the one that people don't think about. If an opportunity comes up, or if you're looking for a promotion, you might need to take a course or get a certification. So make sure that you allocate some monies, whether that's 5% or 10%. Like I said, go back to your MAM account. You need to put aside money each month for your professional development. And then your last account is the magnet, as in steel magnet, right? And that is philanthropy. as we grow and achieve and, do better with our money and our time, do consider giving back. Now, that could be called tithing, however you want to look at it. It could be donation of time and or resources. It could be some actual dollar bills. But we hope that you will consider putting aside part of your monthly income toward philanthropic and or charitable causes. Okay, so whether you use your profit first method of money management or your 6 jars method of money management, look at the different breakdowns. They're very similar, but whichever one resonates with you. And that will really help you get a handle on your money. And then lastly, I'll give you a pro tip. I don't know if it's because I bought a house, but I have received several postcard invitations from banks and credit unions to open an account with them. And in order to entice me to open that account, I feel like Chase offers $600. That might be a little generous. So let's just say $500, which I, of course, took. I opened an account with Chase and I still have it. Not sure if I will keep it based on what I've just learned recently. But and then I just had one recently from a credit union, which is the first time I've actually seen one from a credit union, I'm pretty sure, offering me $250, which had I read this book before that expired, I would totally have opened that account because, again, it's free money. So that already gets you ahead of the game. You do have to keep the account open for, I want to say, 6 months before you get the deposit of this free money. But if you're going to use one of these methods that I've introduced to you, whether it's the profit first or the 6 jars method, you're going to need the extra account anyway. So why not accept one of those invitations? It's free money, it's good money, and it's like, I think that's a really pro tip. So I hope that you will take advantage of that when you get those invitations. The answer is yes. Thank you. Well, I'm about to lose my voice, so I think we will be signing off, but do comment below which one of those money management methods resonates with you more. I'm really excited to, I like the Money Maven, the 6 jars model, but I also like the profit first. So I think it's probably going to be a combination of both, but I'd be interested to hear what you're going to utilize. And that is it for today's Make It, Mind It, Multiply It with Larisa. And we will see you on the next video. Cheers.